Talk us through your team then. Is this about as strong as you could have hoped for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think most of our players are fit and available. So that's probably a first and all the campaigns I've been involved in. And there are 2 or 3 injuries, but to get players back that weren't in last year's Six Nations or last year's Autumn Nation series is a real boost. And these players are on form too.
And one of those players you've got back is Johnny Gray. How excited are you to have him back in your team?
Yeah, Johnny's obviously one of our most experienced players. He sets the standards for his work rate, especially defensively, but also his knowledge around the players he's up against and the line-outs. Yeah, it's great to have him there. Very competitive group of second rows. A lot of experience we'll have in that area. So to get Johnny and Gil put together, I think for the first time since the World Cup, it'll be great to see them go.
Gregor, you've obviously named a very settled side. I think it's 13 of the team that won in Paris at the end of the last Six Nations. England, excuse me, don't seem to have that luxury. What have you made of the team that Eddie Jones has named, and what type of game do you expect them to bring to Murrayfield?
Hi, Andy. I've not had much time to analyse it. We're just off the training field, but someone did tell me the team. So, yeah, they've got experience throughout their team, bringing guys like Elliot Daly in when they're missing Tulangi and Farrell in that position. So he's going to add his experience. He's got a very good kicking game. I think they've gone for a dynamic back row, and they've got club combinations in the second row, and their front row is pretty strong. I don't think there's any injuries in the front row. So yeah, look, it's a strong side. A lot of depth in English rugby, and even with players missing, it shows they can still put a quality team.
It wouldn't be Calcutta Cup week without a few comments from Eddie Jones. He said today, all the external pressures on Scotland, it's a new pressure for Scotland. But it's not just Eddie Jones. I saw Sam Warburton in the week saying he expects Scotland to contend this year. How do you in the camp, yourself and the players, deal with that expectation, Gregor? Do you just block out all the noise, or do you embrace it in the sense that the expectation comes from the good performances in recent years?
Yes, we have our own expectations, and that's delivering our performances that we're capable of. We've not done it in every game we played, but last year's Six Nations, 3 games stood out as close to our best: England, Italy, and France. So that's the aim for us to do the same for 5 games. And players have picked up experiences now, whether they've been away from home, at home, going up against different types of opposition and finding a way to win. And that's what they'll be tasked with this weekend.
Thanks, Gregor.
Hi, Gregor. Ben Ransom from Sky. In terms of the game itself and the size of the game, do you like having such a big game, a marquee game to kick off the tournament, a tournament that, you know, by your own admission, you want to be competing for the title in this time around? Yes,
look, it's great that we start off the Six Nations at home. Just great for our people that they can come to BT Murrayfield. They weren't able to do that in last year's Six Nations, so that's a buzz around Edinburgh, around Scotland, of anticipating what a fixture this is. To start with the Calcutta Cup game just raises it to another level. The Six Nations is a brilliant tournament with some fantastic teams, but this is a game we play for a trophy that's over 150 years old now in terms of the fixture. So no, nothing is bigger in our season. So yeah, why not have it as a first game?
And you know what it takes to win this competition as a whole, the Five Nations certainly. How close is this group to emulating that? How close is this group to genuinely being talked about as contenders?
Well, it's a wait and see one. I think the quality of the Northern Hemisphere has gone up a huge amount in the last few years. I remember when I played, coached, and spectated that maybe 2 teams were in the running for the Six Nations. I think that's changed. I think most teams can, on their day, beat another team. That's been proven in the last couple of seasons. And we would be one of those teams. We've had 3 wins and 2 close defeats last year, so we've been very competitive. Similar story the year before. And we've just got to make sure we're improving, making progress. continuing to win those games we're in positions to win, and finding ways to win if we aren't playing as well.
Thanks, Gregor. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Who's next?
Julian, did you have a question?
Hello, Gregor.
Hello.
Just with Eddie Jones saying Scotland are red hot favourites for this game. I mean, I know that's probably Eddie being Eddie, but what do you think's happened, and how do you explain sort of transformation in Scotland's form that people can say things like this? And actually, although it's a bit of bluster maybe from Eddie, it's not a ridiculous comment. They've got, given your recent form. What's been behind the transformation, do you think?
Well, look, let's address the favourites tag. Every coach does this little song and dance going into a game, trying to convince the media that they're underdogs and say to the players, we're backs against the wall, we're going up to this hostile place and we're underdogs. I don't know who picks the favourites. Obviously, bookies pick a favourite, and I know we're not the favourites with the bookies. So it's not really something that we talk about or worry about. To answer your question, the reason we've been competitive is our players. Our players have driven the standards at training. They've gone through experiences that have made them better. Not always pleasant experiences. Sometimes that's failure. Sometimes that's finding wins in the last minutes of games, but it's got them closer together as a group and a better team for those experiences.